Welcome,
Welcome.
and I call this meeting officially to order. My name is Teresa McCoy, and you are at the Humor Mill Toastmasters Group. I'm the current president. We have a lot of visitors today. Welcome. What I'd like to do is go around the room and have you introduce yourself and why you're here. We're going to start at this table. It's all visitors.
So, my name is Najwa Saad, and I'm typically in the other Toastmasters. And I've been coming to CNN for about 8 years. And I'm the Speakers Bureau Coordinator for CNN.
I'm Kevin Gone. Been coming to CNN for about a month and a half now, and I've been really thrilled with the resources here. I was in the Toastmasters group several years ago for a short time, and thought I would check it out, see maybe possibly re-engage.
I'm Scott Young. I'm the Area 52 Director, and this club is in Area 52, so I'll be seeing how awesome this club is.
And this table.
I'm Jeff. I'm just interested in attending and seeing what it's all about.
Welcome. I think we have one other guest signing in. In the meantime, Humor Mill is a specialty group, and we are also a new group. So we're just a year old, and we don't always operate under the strict guidelines of other Toastmaster groups. We incorporate improv versus table topics, which our new members, our new guests will learn about a little bit. And we like to try and liven things up a little bit. So, right now, what we're going to do is open up our meeting with the pledge. Everybody would please stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. What I'm going to do now is go through the different roles that help our meeting run. And as I call your name, if you could give a few words about your responsibilities in that role. I am Toastmaster of the day, so I get the joy of introducing everybody. Improv Master.
Hi, I'm Juan, and I'm the improv master for this evening. We are going to do some warm-up and exercises to help us get to know each other and practice impromptu speaking.
General Evaluator.
Hi, my name is Crystal. I'm General Evaluator for tonight. I'm just going to, at the end of the meeting, give my feedback on how our meeting ran, what worked well, and what we can improve on.
And Speech Evaluator number 1.
I guess that would be me, Joe Pavlak. I'll be evaluating Bob's speech. And it comes from the Controlling Your Fear, the Better Speaker series. And I'll be finding all sorts of ways that he has improved or the mistakes he makes. And I will correct them as necessary. Head slap him if I have to. No, I won't do that.
Okay, there's a small correction there.
Okay.
Bob is speech number 3.
Okay, speech number 3 then. Well, it says 1 here, but I wasn't sure which one they put it, how they changed it. They didn't give me a correct sheet. Wait a minute, who's on both of them?
I need her name.
Yeah.
L-I-Z. There we go. Okay. All right, so, Juan, are you evaluating speech number 1?
Yes, that appears to be the case. I'm going to evaluate Liz's icebreaker speech, and the objectives of Liz's speech are to begin speaking before an audience and to discover speaking skills you already have and skills that need some attention. And the time is 4 to 6 minutes.
Okay. And then Bob, you're evaluated for speech number 2. And the book is right there.
Oh. Okay. I'll be looking at things of how our speaker has improved and things to get better on, including speaker use short and simple, clear words, speak concisely, descriptive words, rhetorical devices. Ooh, that's fun. We all need help there, don't we? Did the speaker use proper grammar and pronunciation? The grammarian today was going to really look at that too. Was it effectively organized? What did you like about it? What could be done to make it more effective? And a couple of little checkpoints to look at. So we're going to look forward to saying something interesting. Yes? Yes.
And our grammarian today is Joe.
And the grammarian will look for ums and ahs, filler words like so, and I'm going to add those to the list and try to keep track of them and respond to those people and let them know if they actually used them, and if so, how many times, so they can correct. Don't say don't say don't say so.
And our timer today,
The role of the timer is to make sure that we're on time. I'll be recording. The speeches are typically 5 to 7 minutes. Icebreakers a minute shorter. And the improv, I believe, is 1 to 2 minutes. Is that the same, or do you do that differently here?
our improv is about 15 minutes
Oh, 15 minutes. Oh, is for the...
because we don't do table topics.
Oh, okay, so it's different. Okay, so I'll time 15 minutes there. At the beginning, at the low time, I'll give a green card. Halfway between the two, the bottom and upper time, I'll give a yellow, and at the end, I'll give a red card.
So my understanding is that if the speech is 4 to 6 minutes, then at 5 minutes you put up the green card.
No, 4 to 6, I put up the green at 4.
Okay, so at 4 minutes you put up the green card, at 5 you put up the yellow,
Yellow.
and at red you've hit the max 6.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So, that makes us ready for our speaker number 1. Do you have an introduction? Okay. Right. Liz Lee is brand new, a brand new member, and this is her very first speech, her icebreaker. So let's welcome Liz.
First of all, thank you for having me here today. This is my first speech, the icebreaker. And today I'd like to share 3 stories. The reasons I'm going to share these stories are 1, and the stories will help you hopefully to understand the challenges right now the young professionals are struggling with, especially at the beginning of their career. And then the second reason is that it helps you to understand the journey I have been taking to be here today. So the first story. When I was 4 years old, my dad introduced me a movie, Caddy the Caterpillar. It was a story about a young caterpillar named Kitty who lives on a cherry tree with her siblings. However, Caddy was not very satisfied with her current life, and she decided to make a change. She left the cherry tree, traveled through the forest, meeting new animals, experiencing different aspects of life, and finally discovered what she loved to become. As a young kid, I was so fascinated by the story that I watched it over and over again, but I didn't understand why the story was so attractive to me. The second story. When I was a teenager, I had to make my first life decision. whether to accept the offer from the fine art school or continue the education from the regular school. If I chose the first option, I know I would have just followed the path of my father to become an oil painter, and I would love to have done that. However, I was also fascinated by the business world. Growing up in the downtown area of Beijing, I witnessed the huge change of China from planned economy to free market economy. And I'm also very fascinated by finance, by numbers. But as a teenager, I have no idea what the business world was like. What shall I do? I chose the regular school over the fine art school because I would love to embrace the uncertainties and keep other doors open. The third story. When I graduated from college, I attended a restructured local bank in Beijing. At the very beginning, everything was so challenging but exciting. I was selected as the only junior banker to attend an overseas training program in Singapore. I got the chance to start foreign exchange business and to automate the entire process. I trained branch associate. After a few years, work becomes so smooth that I literally can spend less than 3 hours to wrap up the entire daily job. The job seemed to be perfect for a girl, very stable, well paid, and laid back. And people told me, as a girl, I probably should focus more on finding a husband and having kids ASAP. But I didn't want to settle down. I believed that there was another world waiting for me, maybe something more challenging, maybe a world more interesting and exciting, maybe traveling around the world, or maybe go to an MBA or graduate program overseas. What shall I do? I attended the MBA program at Carnegie Mellon University, spent 2 years there. During the 2 years, I got a chance to make friends with people from tremendously different backgrounds, from the special forces guy who spent years in Afghanistan to an Indian dancer. During that 2 years, I realized that in China, people are encouraged to focus on results, whether to attend a top-ranked school, whether to work for a well-known company, or whether you make big money. I was living the life to fulfill the dream of others without thinking about what I would really love to be. Taking a break from everyday life, attending B school, gave me the chance to think about what I really want to be. I gradually picked up hobbies which I've never had time for. I traveled around. I took road trips from New York to Alaska, from Pennsylvania to Texas, and I picked up painting again. I attended an oil painting club in DC area. Now I realized that is why the Caterpillar story was so fascinating to me. I love to explore the world, experience different aspects of life, and meeting different people. And here I am. I'm enjoying life, having fun at work, and solving challenging but exciting problems every day. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay. And your speaker number 2 is yours truly. My name's Teresa McCoy, and I'm a health and wellness coach. I like inspiring people to reach their goals. Toastmaster has kind of helped me come into that. That's one of the reasons I joined. I have 3 kids, and I travel all the way from Baltimore to be here. So, let me introduce myself. guess we can start the clock now. That's a first. Welcome, everybody. Strive for a life that's fun, free, and fearless. Do the thing we fear, and death of fear is certain. And Douglas Horton states, action cures fear, inaction creates terror. How many here are aware that when you're happy or excited, your body produces serotonin? Oh, dopamine. Dopamine. Yeah, you didn't tell me. Anyway, are you also aware that when you're afraid, your body produces dopamine? That's why doing something such as riding a roller coaster is exciting. Why else would people intentionally wait 45 minutes in the sweltering heat for an experience that lasts 180 seconds? Because it's fun. You know, imagine you get strapped into the coaster cart, you start moving up the track, and you keep going up, 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 and as you get nearer to the apex of the hill, your heart starts beating, you throw up your arms because you want to feel the sensation of the wind, and you also want to show that you're not afraid. And then in the blink of an eye, you're going down. Gravity's pulling you. Your stomach comes up to your chest, and your arms come down. You grab onto the bar as you continue through the twists and turns, and just as you start realizing you need to take a breath, you're stopped. The ride's over. That is a combination of fear, but when you get done, you're ready to go and do it again because your body had released the dopamine. 9-year-old little girl, she's watching her 7-year-old brother and other kids jumping off a 2-story high cliff. Of course, he then has to dare her to do the same thing. Being the older sister, I have no option but to save my face and march bravely up that hill, walk to the edge of the cliff, look down, and my knees start shaking. And my heart feels like it's gonna pound right out of my chest. And my legs are not moving. Now, there's an internal battle going on. What's gonna win out? Is my fear of injury greater than my fear of ridicule from my baby brother? I have another fear. This fear is a current fear. It leaves me quaking in my boots. It's 2 little words. And these 2 little words, when I hear them, my heart starts pounding. My palms get sweaty. And I just want to melt into the wall. Do you want to know what those 2 little words are? Table topics. That's right, table topics. Now, those of you who are guests, you'll understand about this a little bit more. I hear those words and I just silently go, please, 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 don't let them call me. The dictionary indicates that fear is harmful and undesired. But I argue that point because fear is actually the provider of great opportunities. In the first example, we intentionally put ourselves to experience that emotion, and we call it fun. Fear of survival is necessary for self-preservation. And fear of failure, it was my table topic fear, is what we experience that is necessary for personal development. So, when you start doing things that scare you the most, that's when you become the person you dream about. When you take those steps. And that's why I joined Toastmasters, to provide me with opportunities to be able to give myself the experiences to overcome that fear. I know why I'm afraid of table topics, because I don't keep up with current events. I don't like politics. And sports, I only see when I'm in a restaurant. So I feel like I have lack of information. Combine that with my fear of being put on the spot and my fear of being judged because I'm not delivering. All of that is what I need to work on overcoming. And that's why I'm here at Toastmasters. Getting through fear is a skill that needs to be developed. And if you aren't ready to face your fears, you probably won't transcend them. So those of you who are guests, I encourage you to approach your fears with courage and work on overcoming them. And those of you who are members, if you're afraid of getting up here and giving one of your speeches, I encourage you just to keep doing it. Now, who wants to know? Am I here because I just didn't jump? Or am I here because I overcame my fear? Does anybody want to know? I did jump. And afterwards, I kept jumping. All right. Thank you very much. And our next speaker, and this was completely unrehearsed and unplanned. They're amazing. There was no coordination. We have Bob giving his speech. Bob is an advanced communicator. Bronze? All right, is an advanced communicator bronze. And his introduction, we all face uncertainties. Many of us know what to do and how to prevent those nervous moments. Many of us do not know what to do and will freeze or otherwise show the uncertainty. Okay, fear. For those who know and are not sure how or what to say to help others, to those who need some words of encouragement, you will no doubt find some good ideas as our advanced communicator, Bob Wilson, shares some thoughts.
Under tables, you'll find a little handout, bluish, controlling your fear. Our AV doesn't work, so plan B, the old-fashioned way. Paper. If anybody needs, there are more here. You can follow along. In reviewing this, neglected to say the time requirement. It'll not be take 10 to 15 minutes, interest of time. Mr. Timer, red card me at 10, please. We have fears. One way of dealing with fear, and as a counselor, I see this. I'm not going to touch it. It's just there. Not touching it. Stay away, stay away. Nope, 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 nope. Distance, a wall. Something happens to chisel away at that wall, a memory. And out comes this festering thing. And it slams into the person. That's not the way to handle it. Because it's festered there for weeks, months, in some cases years. And it's powerful. Another way is that you just blindly go in and squash it. Doesn't work either, because if you don't do it right, bits and pieces get missed, and they come back and bite. Weeks, months, years later. Fear. When we talk with Toastmasters, we're thinking the fear of public speaking. Oh my God, I'm going to make a fool of myself. How about the young private? Private, I want you to call out commands to the brigade. Colonel, are you really sure I'm up to it? Yes, Private, you can do it. His only fear, this is mostly guys doing this, get choked up and the voice chokes off. So let's just get it over with, shout it out, brigade, take it, and it's over. Well, we're dealing with this a little differently here because we don't have to shout like that, do we? Although, doing Renaissance reenacting, public address systems aren't there, but you learn to project. That is a topic for another day, and I'll be glad to show people how to do better at that. But right now, let's look at anxiety triggers, because that's what happens. You get a little worried, you get a little scared. New and unknown situation. I have to talk about fear when that's exactly my number one enemy? Yeah, you can do it. What if I fail? What if? Better to try and fail than never to try at all. As we hear. But I'm so scared. What if they reject it? It's on them. We learn that through confidence in doing. But like the 9-year-old, you have to face it. Sometimes fear protects you from a really unwise decision. Yeah, kid, jumping off of that 30 feet up into 40 feet of water, you will be okay, but unless you land right, boy, it's really going to hurt. Fear of pain is not so bad. Or maybe I'll bore the audience. If you're worried about making a fool of yourself, you're certainly not going to bore them. They're going to be sitting there going, back to fear number one. Fear number two, you certainly won't bore them, so let's not talk much about that. Or jumping over to the symptoms of anxiety. Best way to describe this is the teenager upon seeing someone who really looks attractive. And heart goes. It happens. Oh, by the way, it happens to older people too. Maybe for different reasons. Maybe for the same reason. Butterflies in the stomach. Oh, yeah. Well, my stomach has stress. Take a glass of water. It'll settle down a little bit. Sometimes you really get scared and you start shaking. Or you get a little dizzy or lightheaded. Now you're hyperventilating. First aid tech here talking, med tech from the Army. Slow down the breathing. It's called hyperventilating. You drove the carbon dioxide down in your blood, so you need to slow it down because you're going to get dizzy. Guaranteed. But you know the body's a little smarter than we are. If you overdo it, it's prepared. Boom! You shut it down until so the body can regain control through normal means and measures. Anxiety is normal. It happens. Sorry, folks. The good news is we can use fear to learn. Because unreasonable fear is what we're talking about here. Not swinging a baseball bat around and around and around like this and coming within inches of my president's head. That's a reasonable fear. We're talking the unreasonable. What if I make a fool of myself? Here we have people who care. Experience. Here's something, just practice. Practice, 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 practice. They talk Visualization, see it, conceive it. What the mind can conceive, you will believe. Some people just say, just do it. You'll feel better for it. Speak clearly, forcefully, relax. Speak clearly, I stress that. Focus on what you're trying to say. You can get it out. You will, you'll do good. I guarantee we want to hear what you have to say. The audience wants to hear it. And if it's a repetition, I'm an expert in different subjects, and if someone starts talking about things I'm very familiar with, I pay attention because I want to see if I can fill in the blanks and share them later with the guy, with the presenter, he or she person. Or I ask good questions. So many things about relaxation. The key, out of the 4 vital signs that is at your body that the doctors look at, temperature, pulse, respiration, blood pressure, you control one and only one of them. You can't control your blood pressure directly, indirectly by what I tell you next. Temperature is the same thing, pulse is the same thing. Your breathing. Long, slow breaths, and you will be slowing all of those down. Your blood pressure will go down. Your pulse goes down. Your temperature, core temperature, doesn't change a whole lot, but something weird happens. When you relax, more blood flows to your extremities, like your hands, your feet. Sometimes I get so relaxed, my hands, after washing, they feel so uncomfortable. Relax. And yes, I do get stressed out too, it happens. It's what you do with it that makes a difference. Stretch, hold the arms out, maybe an exercise. I went through one course and the instructor said, tighten your muscles up one by one and then relax them. I found that just made me even more tense. So, you know what the instructor said? It's an idea. Don't have to do it. If it makes you bad, don't do it. Share it with others, but don't practice yourself. Great. Breathe from the diaphragm. We're not talking. Make the shoulders move or the chest move. It means when you inhale, well, I could make almost of you here, if you stand on my stomach, you're going up when I inhale because the diaphragm is rising. 50% more air comes in. I learned a technique in high school playing a tuba. These muscles back here contribute. More air comes in. Longer slowing breathing means what? Excited or calmer? You can do it. Exercise on a regular basis, even if it's mild. I walk a couple miles a day. Part of it is because I don't want to pay to park. I don't want to pay to park in the parking garage. And then you will have a better grasp of your comfort levels and where you are, because you remain in control. You will see where you are. And with you in control, what's there to be worried about? Madam Toastmaster.
That concludes our speaking portion, and now it's time for the improv. We're going to hold the improv to 10 minutes.
Now that we've had Teresa's speech about overcoming fear and Bob's speech about overcoming fear, there's no fear in anybody in coming up here, right? We're going to make a circle. And I'm doing like this, so you don't need to anybody feel intimidated. In fact, I'm going to ask you to help run these games in power.
You were overcoming and I was controlling the fear.
Overcoming and controlling. Thank you. So we are going to start with some games. I didn't have anyone to practice with, so here we go. The first game is called an accepting circle. So we are in a circle. One player starts by making a little gesture, perhaps make a sound, and then his or her neighbor will then try and do the exact same thing. And we think that we will match it perfectly, but what happens is that there will be some change as one participant follows the other. So the goal of this exercise is to watch for movements that suddenly change. And this is not supposedly it won't happen, but experience shows it will. So would someone like to start us with a gesture and accompanied by a sound? And you
We go that way?
Thank you. Because I felt the same way.
Okay.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, you were this way?
said the neighbor, right? So,
All right, let's figure out that sound.
so I think what we did is we interpreted rather than exactly following it, which is hard. I think we interpreted. So, good game. Let's go to another one.
Would you please pick someone else this time?
Yes, we'll pick you up this time. Okay, so this is an easy one. Will you pick an adjective, and then all of us are going to act out that feeling or whatever that adjective denotes. Like if you say sad, then we all act sad, and whatever else.
Based on the last table topics competition. Wonderful!
So we all can act out. We don't have to do it one at a time. Listen.
Because that was I wonder, remember? You weren't on the hot seat.
Would we like to do another adjective? Would someone else like to come up with another adjective?
Flabbergasted.
Ooh. Does that kind of get you going, moving, or whatever? Okay, so give ourselves a hand, and then we go back. This next one is 3 rules. We can one person can come up, or more than one person can come up with 3 rules. Let's say, for example, we can only play with one arm, or we can only use one. We cannot use a word that contains the letter S, or and then after every question, someone yells yes. So we can come up with any 3 rules we want, and then each of us will act it out to follow the 3 rules. So and it doesn't have to be one person coming up with all 3 rules. So we can just do random rules. Would anyone like to start with a random rule?
Who's acting out?
We're all acting out, but
Okay.
we can all jointly make up the 3 rules that we're going to follow when we act out.
We have to include an animal.
Oh, of course, yes, that can include.
No, I mean, it's a rule.
It has to include an animal, that's a rule.
Okay, it has to include an animal. Okay, so that's the first rule, number 1, include an animal.
It has to be on 1 foot.
1 foot, that sounds good. Okay. And does it have to be an animal that's 1 foot, or? So we have animal 1 foot, and then a 3rd rule,
Minimum of 4 letters.
minimum of 4 letters. Okay, so,
What's 4 letters?
Any word that with more than 4 letters.
That has to include an animal, and you're just saying it while you're.
and we can make
qualified.
up an animal too, right? Or does it have to be a real animal? Can you think of animals that have only 1 foot?
Like a flamingo.
That's scary, flamingo.
It's an animal, it's 1 foot, and then.
There you go, it's
Oh,
more than
yeah.
4 letters.
Oh, flamingo.
Flamingo.
Okay.
Yay! We together.
Crystal,
Yes.
I see 3 feet down.
Oh, okay. I don't know where the third one.
All right, well, thank you.
So, okay, time's up.
And this portion of the meeting are the evaluations, and I'm calling up our general evaluator, Crystal.
So my role in the meeting is to cover what worked well and what we can improve on. And I'll do that towards the end. And right now I'm going to bring up our evaluation team. We'll start with the evaluation of speaker number 1, and that was Juan, I think, because I think we did some last minute switching.
Oh,
Did you evaluate Liz?
yes.
Okay, great. So Juan.
Liz, I was very, very impressed by your speech. I thought it was amazing. You were very concise. You had the points, basically, like your life history or what took you to where you are in your life now, but in 3 short points. You pulled it all together. I don't know exactly what the time frame of the speech was. It didn't seem like it was even 6 minutes, but you covered, it seemed, all that was important to you. You didn't use notes. I didn't catch the name of the movie.
Katie the caterpillar.
So the
Katie the.
Katie the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought it was excellent. You, from the time you talked about when you were little, 4 years old, until making a decision as a teenager and college graduation, and we learned something about your father as well. And then your choice whether to travel the world or MBA. You did the MBA, and then after that you got to travel, or even coming here was quite a bit of travel, right, coming from China. And I loved that you, as a young person, you identified your own goals rather than other people, rather than following other people's goals. We learned a lot about you, your business interests. You're an artist. You love to explore the world. And when you first came up here, you shook hands with the Toastmaster, and that's excellent for a first speech sometimes. For a first speech, many people do not shake hands. You obviously have achieved quite a lot in your life. So, and your speech reflects that. We got to know you. The audience got to know you. I very much feel that, yes, this is your life story, so you know it well, but you presented it very well. The speech did have an opening because you said that you were going to talk about the 3 important points. You didn't use notes. The only thing I thought that you could do a little, or add to your speech, is maybe a little bit more movement, some gesture, make a little bit of use of the space. Overall, as I said, I'm very, very impressed, and it was a great speech. And I look forward to hearing more of your speeches.
Thank you so much, Ron. Let's see, our next
evaluator would be Bob for terrestrial speech. Bob, come on up, please.
Maybe somebody didn't see that just before I got up here, got the looked like the evil eye. No, I'm teasing her too. Was the speech topic appropriate for this particular assignment? Absolutely. Gee, we talked about fear most of the night, didn't we? Guess it was really appropriate. Did the speaker use simple, short, and clear words? Well, yeah. I think I started counting the syllables in some of the longer words. I didn't get past 4. Most of them were 1, 2, and a few 3s, and a smattering of 4. So yeah. Did the speaker use vivid, descriptive words that created mental images? Absolutely. They were colorful. They brought us in. You felt something coming. Hardly boring. Did any words have more than one meaning, or they were inaccurate? And I said, no confusions. Short, simple sentences, understandable. Yes, and they had clarity. Did the speaker avoid jargon and unnecessary words? I didn't hear any, so I guess that's a yes. Purpose clear. I guess we got it, didn't we? Overcome fear. Avoid it. Fight it. Deal with it. Was it effectively organized? Yeah. There was a good flow from one part to the next. What could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effectively? Well, I saw a couple of points where she made a little mistake and she kind of just paused a little longer than comfortable. And some of the pauses, they seemed to be a little, I couldn't think of the right word, I said off time. They weren't timed right. Practice will make that better. What did I like about the speech? The conclusion was very strong. And a word to all who speak. You do not say thank you. We, the listeners, say thank you. Madam?
Great, thank you so much, Bob, for that encouraging evaluation. And finally, for speaker number 3, which is Bob. Joe, come on up for the evaluation. Joe.
Okay, Bob, controlling your fear. Just going down the question list here on the evaluation. How effective was the introduction? I say yes. You engage the audience with questions and queries and your body motions. You obviously knew the topic well. Was the presentation adequately prepared? Yes. You detailed the fear of speaking. I used analogies. And there was a minimal use of notes. For 10 minutes, what can you expect? How did the speaker use vocal variety? Yes, you did use the vocal variety. I mean, it was obvious the fear was there. You used that. You couldn't have used it. You could have, come up with a punch or something. That would have been nice, but that would have been a little bit too far. Yeah. What other techniques? Body motions to indicate an emotional response. That was very well done. You just didn't stand there. You actually moved around and did something to indicate the fear was happening. Visuals. Well, that was replaced by the handout, which I thought was well done. Very detailed. Aspects of the speaker's presentation that you found unique. The concept of using fear to learn. Most people try to avoid fear. They don't think they're learning anything. They're probably learning to avoid it. But you said use something about visualization to engage and deal with the fears and that kind of thing. In other words, feel the fear, learn from it, find out what works, what doesn't, and move on. That's what I was getting out of it. Did the speaker present material clearly and simply? Yes. Examples presented. It's a topic we all have, especially the fear of speaking for a lot of people. Examples presented and used to engage the audience again. Again, visualizing the fear and then dealing with it. I think that was the message. What could you have done more differently to make the presentation even more effective? maybe a head slap. I don't know. There wasn't really much you could do. And what did you like? A common problem that was not restricted to public speaking. And you deal with those and other fears pretty much the same way. Learn to live with it, deal with it, learn from it, move on. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. All right, next up we will have our grammarian.
Oh, let's begin.
Oh, Joe, okay, right, going back up now.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, Liz, I really didn't catch any oohs or ahs or things like that, but let me, I suspect you're not a native English speaker, but you have a very good command of language. I caught the word aspect being pronounced differently twice. So in your own head, think about how you said it, or you can say it out loud. And the word is, at least in English, is pronounced aspect, but I heard something else.
Aspect?
No, I thought I heard something else. Never mind. And then there was another item where you used the word had, you used the word half, that is to I have something, as opposed to the past tense, which I think applied more. I'm not quite sure. That's the only thing I caught. There was so little. And Teresa, nothing. Bob, of course, nothing. Juan, there was one line for me. And I think you used repetition instead of pauses to avoid saying and ah and all that other stuff. And of course, for your evaluation, Bob, no mistakes. Thank you very much.
And then lastly, our timers report, which is Scott.
All right, everyone was great on time. So, Bob, your speech was 5 minutes, 44 seconds. Or, no, not Bob. Lee.
Liz.
That's what I get for, or Liz. That's what I get for reading this directly. Teresa, 7:20. And Bob, your speech was 10 minutes, 22 seconds. So, like, usually, even though you're 20 seconds over, there's usually a 30-second leeway. So, everyone was good there. Improv session was 6 minutes, 28 seconds. The first evaluation was 3 minutes, 2 seconds. The second one was 2 minutes, 10 seconds. And the third one was 2 minutes, 35 seconds.
Great.
So, everyone was on time.
Thank you, Scott. All right, and lastly for my report is general evaluator. I'm just gonna run over some things on this sheet. Did our meeting start on time? We didn't get a good start on time today, so I think we'll just kind of work on if we're missing somebody, you know, how to kind of fill that gap in so we can make sure we start on time. Were all roll holders present at the start of the meeting? No, not this time. How many club members were present? We had 5 members and we had 6 guests. Were guests greeted and made to feel welcome? I'll ask the guests. Anyone?
Yes.
Did okay? Okay, great, excellent, very good, all right. Was the room in order? Yes. We had our banner out, our ribbon that we won. Was the Toastmaster well prepared? I think she did an outstanding job considering we had some last minute things to juggle, so I think she did a great job. I think in the future, I'd like to see our club just have a little bit more communication ahead of time before the meeting so we can kind of firm things up before the meeting starts. Did the Toastmaster make everyone feel comfortable? Yes. Did the Toastmaster help put together the meeting? Yes. Was the Toastmaster able to adapt to absences? Absolutely. Speech evaluators, I thought were definitely very encouraging. We had some experienced evaluators tonight, and I thought that team did a great job. Improv Master was prepared, and Juan, this is her second time being Improv Master, and her and I were talking about this ahead of time. And you really have to, it's a skill to come up and kind of, you know, work with the group and, you know, make sure the group has a good time while they're learning spontaneous speaking. So if we could just give her a round of applause. On that. Very good. Yes, you got everyone involved. You chose fun activities. Definitely made us laugh. And I think we did enjoy ourselves. So I think everyone had a good time. There was a few things. Actually, I did want to point out one more thing. Scott, I think you did a great job in just explaining the timer rule with the red, yellow, and green cards. I don't think that's something we regularly do at our club, but that was a good model for us. So thank you for explaining the times ahead of time. And then Our club, I think we do a good job with the basics of, getting our meeting going, making people feel welcome and things like that. But I'd like to see us kind of move to the next level for 2018. We are close to becoming a distinguished club. If you're a guest or new to Toastmasters, it's an award you win once you reach certain benchmarks. This will be our first time getting that award. This is our second year being a club, so that's really good for us. We definitely have a talented and dedicated officer team who's working behind the scenes to get things going. So I know in the next few weeks they're going to do a few more things to kind of get us more on point and have more enjoyable meetings and make a better club. So I think that's it for my general evaluator. Madam Toastmaster.
All right. Club business. TLI, that is Toastmaster Leadership Institute. For those who are guests, it is free. You do not need to be a leader. That if you're considering developing and overcoming your fear of being a leader, this institute is really good. If you are a member and you've been to them before and you've been to one, let me reassure you, they are not the same. That's why we go every 6 months. So those of you who are new, you can go to the leadership, pick a role that you identify with just to get yourself a little prepared, get some more strategies, and if you've already picked a role, pick another role this time around. They're from now, December 9th, up until beginning of February. Anything else?
You just need to go to one of them.
Well, you only need to go, right. You only need to go to one during that time frame. But as officers, to be a distinguished club, we have to go every 6 months. And that's what helps to better prepare us. I really wished I would have had leadership school before becoming an officer. Anyway, next, our meeting, December 12th, our next meeting has been relocated and it's on the bottom of your agenda. The church is doing something here. So we're going to be at Tyson's Piment Library at 6:35. Try to get there a little early. Okay? And there will not be a meeting December 26th. That's our other meeting date. All right? And after that, it's off to the new year. We have, how many people, how many members? 5? Yes.
I think 6. Yeah, 6.
Okay, we have 6 members. The 6 members, we need to create a vote. We have an office role that is vacant for Sergeant at Arms. We have our member at large, Crystal, who has been imperative for filling in whenever an officer is not here. But she needs access to the back end of the Toast and the club, toastmaster.org. She needs access to that, and right now as a member at large, she cannot have access. But if we vote her in as Sergeant at Arms while we're still looking for a Sergeant at Arms, she can then have access since those roles are vacant. So we need to take a vote. Is there any, let me know if I'm doing this incorrectly, if anybody knows Robert's Rules of Order. The proposal is that Crystal be voted
I
as.
so move.
Okay. Anybody opposed?
Second.
Oh, okay.
Second.
All right, so we've had our first and second. Anybody opposed? Great. Everybody, that name, by default, everybody in favor? Okay. All right, so Crystal, you're going to be listed as our Sergeant at Arms, so we can have that filled. Those of you who are guests, this is where I encourage you. Your time and talent is very valuable. And this experience, if you were to have seen me just 6 months ago, you know, I'm sitting here, I'm holding on to this, and then I'm holding on to myself and stumbling over myself. This has been a really great experience, but you don't have to be an officer. All of these roles need to get filled, and many of them are not very challenging. You know, timer, the grammarian, they require listening and participation, but they don't require you to write your speech right away. So these roles are very important, and they need to be filled in order to run a successful club. So I want to encourage you, if you are looking into becoming a Toastmaster, you know, make sure to work on your competent leadership. Bob, roles?
Well, we have speaker openings on the 12th. We need evaluators. We need other positions. I did not see a grammarian yet. I did see a Toastmaster. I forgot who it is now.
Me, right here.
I don't know if I saw a general evaluator. That could very well be me. I'm giving another speech. Who else wants to give a speech? You got to sign up. Who wants to evaluate? You have to sign up.
And when you become a member, you will be
Maybe
able
you could
to
be the
actually
timer
do
at
this
the
in
next meeting.
advance online, as we're getting all the kinks worked out of that.
The 12th. Make sure we mark down that because we're still have that challenge on the website. She should be our timer next time.
Okay, we'll get that fixed. I have nothing further. Does anybody else? Well, thank you, everybody. Meeting officially adjourned.